there, welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some like love. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. In a few moments, we're going to be discussing what to do if a guy doesn't meet your standards and expectations in the beginning of a potential relationship or dating scenario. What should you do? But first, if you didn't know who I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity book. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy, and the author of this awesome fibromyalgia self-help handbook, which is how to manage fibromyalgia to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. Let's get into tonight's episode. So, what should you do if a guy, or it could be any gender actually, this can be applied to any gender, but I say guy because obviously I'm only attracted to guys, but what do you do if someone that you're thinking about having a potential relationship with, or someone who's shown you interest in having a potential relationship with you, what do you do if that person is not going to be suitable for you, or then certainly not suitable for you at the moment because they're not meeting your standards and expectations? Well, first of all, it's important from the very beginning to lay out your standards and expectations. Obviously, that can be difficult depending on the circumstances. So, for example, there's a guy that connected with me online recently, and I haven't had a chance to have a proper conversation with him. I had a brief conversation by phone with him, but I haven't had a chance to video chat, and he keeps wanting to video chat with me. But clearly, from some of the stuff I'm already reading in his messages, which, you know, aren't that in depth, there's a lot of things that don't meet my standards or expectations for a potential relationship already. So this is red flags, you know, red flags in terms of potential relationship. I'm not saying this guy isn't fine as a friend or isn't fine, okay, as a person, in and of himself, maybe with his friends and stuff. But in terms of actually, oh, hi, Sam. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. But in terms of an actual potential relationship, there's a lot of things that I, you know, consider not to be good about him already, you know. I see him as a guy that's got to do a lot of work on himself. Thanks for the thumbs up. Still got a lot of developing and self-development and growing to do, and therefore he's really not suitable for a relationship for me, not as a potential at the moment, you know. And he keeps wanting to video chat with me, which is all good and well, but he seems to not understand. I've said to him, you know, you need to schedule some time in with me, because he just tries to do it like when he's free, like off the cuff, like he sees if I am on, and then he starts, you know, like messaging me and then starts trying to video chat with me. And, you know, that's just something I can't do when I'm really hectic and busy. You know, the other day I made a few minutes time to talk by audio with him and some message time. At the end of the day, he's got to understand that I'm busy with my work. I can't just drop everything for him, right? And there's a lot of things that he said or hasn't said that gives me reason to believe he's definitely the wrong person for me anyway. Certainly as he is at the moment with me hardly knowing him either. So when you've got a situation like this from the beginning where the person's not meeting your standards or expectations pretty much straight away, you need to be quite honest and frank and just tell the person. Tell them your standards, tell them your expectations. If they don't meet it or can't meet it, then you just leave them, let them go and depart ways, you know. If you want to keep them as a friend, that's debatable because, you know, are you going to fancy each other? Are you going to, you know, want a relationship later on? If you think the person might be potentially okay for you later on, if he changed, don't expect him to change. Don't force him to change. Don't tell him to change, right? But if you think he might be all right, you could keep in contact with him just as a friend if you want to. But if you're really looking for a relationship and know it's going to cause a lot of hassle with feelings and stuff, then it's best to part your ways so you decide what's right for you at the time. But obviously, you've got to lay out your standards and expectations from the beginning. It's best sometimes if these can be done in a video chat or audio chat, because it's an easier way of talking than just messaging back and forwards, especially if the person's foreign, like this person's Indian, right? And so some of the language can be very difficult to understand. He doesn't seem to understand the fact that I said to make an appointment with me, like arrangement with me next week, to see when to video chat. He seems to think I meant tonight, right? And I clearly was saying no. So you got to be careful, because you don't know whether it's the language barrier or just the person's just playing dumb because, you know, they really want their own way. So there's been 2 Indian guys recently. One was an older one, I told you, well, guys who's older than I would usually go for, and this is the one that's particularly can't meet my standards or expectations. The other younger one, actually, I had a conversation with this morning, and he said he definitely could never afford to come and live in my country, which is honest. It's really good, but actually he's a lot more mature in some ways than the older guy, and he's a lot more open and honest and kind and caring guy. So really, it's a shame. Like, he's 21 and the other guy's meant to be 29, although he looks a lot older because of all the facial hair he's got, you know. And so the 21-year-old, you know, is actually, you know, for me personally, easier to talk to, easier to get on with. Really, really nice personality. You know, he's got a lot of strengths to his character. Whereas the other guy, the older guy, the 29-year-old, he just, like, there's a lot of things that is just not right. And I haven't been feeling well lately. I've been getting really dizzy, and, you know, I don't need the stress of a guy coming into my life trying to instigate, you know, video chats with me, like, when he feels like it. And also, he does ask, though. He said, you know, like, when can I speak to you? When can you give me permission to talk to you, Sandra? So he's not being completely ignorant to the fact I've got stuff going on, like some guys are. So there are some good things about him. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that isn't good. So I've just written this message to, like, say I think he should look for another woman, basically. Well, I'll tell you what I said, you know. So he asked me how I was, right? He messaged me yesterday asking how I was. And then he's like, are you busy? Which I thought was nice. And then I told him that I was busy and what was going on in my life. And I was honest that I've got another guy that's interested in me romantically, but, you know, he doesn't live in this country. It's never going to happen. Basically, a younger guy might look. So I was honest about that. And then at 3:46 a day, he said, hi, dear. And then he missed an audio call with me. And then he's, how's you? What's on? Busy or free? Now, at the end of the last message where he asked me how I was, I said, so what was your day like? And what have you been up to and doing? Now, you know, if a guy's asking me how my day's going, I'm sharing with him how my day's going. I expect him to be able to give me message me back saying how his day's doing. I'm not going to have this one-sided potential relationship where I'm doing all the conversation and he's just like, hi, how you doing? Busy. Bye. Hi, how you doing? You know, that's just like, to me, that's like kindergarten. It's like something you would do in play school. Like the 21-year-old I was messaging this morning, I couldn't sleep anyway. And we had like a long, ongoing backwards and forwards messaging conversation, like a proper deep conversation about things, hobbies, interests, potential relationship stuff, and all this lot. And he was honest and said, I can't afford to come to your country ever, Sandra. You know, but he is in a dating group where he met me, which is for people in the UK predominantly. So yeah. Anyway, you know, that's basically the situation. But at least he was honest and he's really kind and caring, you know. And I had a really good conversation with him. Now, this guy is supposed to be older. He's supposed to be like 8 years older. To me, is a lot more immature, a lot less relationship material, a lot less open and honest, and just kind of like a really masculine guy in a bad way, right? And so I said to him that I'm just about to jump in the shower because he's saying, are you busy or free? And I said, and he's like, when you're totally free for me, today's a weekend, can I call you? And it's like, well, I'm never free as such because I work 7 days a week just because it's a weekend. Do you know what I mean? So he's like, means when can I call you? Video at night or not, dear Sandra? What happened? No time for video call, dear. And I said, anyone who wants to video chat or call me has to book days in advance to do so, usually. Even my bestest friend I do this with. He's like, I'm not your friend, dear Sandra. I said, okay, if you say I'm not your friend, then there is no point in video chatting with you or taking a phone call. I said, I am not your friend, ? I said, you should see from my posts how busy I am, but you never look at them and support me. Understand means of say. I put, I need a guy who will support me in my career. Time is money. Time is precious life. And he's like, dear, I support you. What can I do for you? And then he started saying stupid stuff like, oh, next weekend I'll support you. I'll send you. Because I said, look, I have to support myself financially. You know what I mean? And I wasn't dizzy last night, so it could not work, you know? So that means I have to try and catch up on work if I can. or get on with my day because I had to go out to the shops before they shut. And he's like, oh, next weekend I'll support you financially. You know, I said, I'm not interested in your money. I'm not that type of girl. And he's like, I know as a friend I can help you, dear. And then he's going on about, I know, I said, I'm not like other women. He goes, I know, dear, love you, Sandra, and all this lot. You know, it's just, to me, it's just superficial, artificial rubbish. Do you know what I mean? This is the guy that goes, oh, I'll shave all my hair off for you because I know you don't like, you know, you don't want hairy chest and all this rubbish. It's just fake, a lot of it, very fake, very like baby speak. It's like, oh, you know, I'll just say what she wants to hear and tell her what she wants to hear and not do any actions. It's just a load of babble, you know. To me, it's just like something someone would do in a school playground. It's not a mature guy. Do you know what I mean? The 21-year-old seems more mature in some ways than this guy does. Do you know what I mean? This is why I go for younger guys. Because usually I find younger guys are more mature than these older guys. And he's like, I said, my true friends message me, share their secrets and life with me. You don't. He's like, what you know about me? Meaning, what do you want to know about me? It shouldn't be up to me to just go, oh, well, tell me this, tell me that. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to have a genuine conversation where someone goes backwards and forwards in an adult way, not faffing around, you know, saying, oh, well, tell me this, tell me that. It's just child's play. Honestly, it stresses me out. And I said, read that. If I write you a message and you don't reply me and answer, I'm not going to waste my time with you. So then he sent me a picture of him with a bandage on his leg saying he fell. I went to the doctor's yesterday. I slipped at work, dear. You don't trust me. Then he tried to audio call me. He said, you don't trust me. I said, I'm sorry you slipped at work. I can't take a call right now. I have to go in the shower right now. It's like I've told him before. Trust take time and it's not a given. Okay, dear. Do you see what I mean? These people seem to have a sense of entitlement. That just because you've met them over the internet on Facebook, and straight away you're meant to trust them, that's not how a mature adult guy or person would be, you know, who's coming from a healthy potential relationship loving place. It just isn't. Do you know what I mean? And then he said before he can, I said that, you know, and any guy who does not know these things has much self-development work to do on himself. And then he's like, when can I video call you? Before he can be a good guy for himself or woman. Sam, yes, just an open, honest conversation that is not forced is best. People need to earn trust. Exactly. And then I said, if you want to video chat, you would have to book in some time next week with me on my calendar and stick to a specific time. It's like, for how many minutes could you video? And I put, right now I have to go, you know, saying the same thing. So you can get back to me with some options for video chat next week. Call next week and I can see what I can do now. I'm busy and I live in the UK. And he's like, oh, message me then you're free, dear, or I message you later. If you're busy, tell me, dear Sandra. Hi, dear. And then it's like he's not understanding. I'm saying next week. I'm not saying tonight. And I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling dizzy, which presumably is stress again, subconscious stress. So the last thing I need is a guy making me more stressed out. So he put, hi, dear. So this is at 8:33, right? And I was just like not going to answer him because I was busy doing something else, right? So I wrote back. I've just written back about, when was it? 10 minutes ago, actually. No, an hour ago, sorry, 9:36. It's now 10:36. Yeah, I've eaten since then. It's been a long day, a dizzy day. Right, so I said to him, and I'll see what he says to this. I said to him, because obviously if someone's not meeting your standards expectations from the beginning, what you do is you have to lay out what your standards and expectations are as much as possible. Tell them like how they're behaving, basically, you know, without accusing them and saying you're a bad person or something. Just say, you know, this is not the type of person I want. This is the type of person I want. So you set your standards and expectations. They either live up to it or they get the hell out of your life, basically. Certainly out of a relationship potential with you, you know? Because there's no point in carrying on a situation where you know it's no good for you. This guy isn't any good for me as he is. He's really not good for me. He's just not the right person. And I mean, he doesn't even live in this country, for goodness sake. I think you should look for another woman who we aren't compatible. You have much work to do on yourself before you would even be ready for a serious committed relationship. I honestly believe that, you know? In one of his previous messages, he's like, I'm the perfect man. There's no such thing as a perfect man. And any guy who thinks he's perfect, well, you know what I mean? You're always going to have problems with this type of guy. Because it's a self-entitlement. Like, I'm entitled for you, you know, I'm entitled for you to trust me straight away. I'm entitled because I'm this great guy. And most of these guys are the ones that are really insecure and have real bad problems actually getting into relationships, because, and if they do get into a relationship, they can be narcissistic if you're not careful. So you've got to be careful, you know. It's a red flag for narcissism if they think they're perfect, you know. So you've got to see whether it's an insecurity or a narcissistic trait, or possibly both. So you've got to park it, you know. So I put, and then I went on to say, I need a guy who's clean shaven, most likely younger, sensitive, kind, caring, will naturally talk to me about anything and everything and share his life, work, and secrets with me. Someone who is vulnerable and open and completely honest. Someone whose actions match his words, and someone who's not careless with his words and saying what he thinks I want to hear. I want a guy who has some feminine traits, and not a guy who has whoops. I think I made a mistake. Never mind. I'm not feeling great, so I'll allow myself that. And not a guy who has had, it should be, or has. I've got it the wrong way around. A strong sense of male. It should be, and not a guy who has a strong sense of male entitlement. Thinks he's the perfect man, or he can win women's affections quickly and easily, or that she should trust him. Especially when he has not built a trusting relationship over time and he wants to rush her to decide about him. This is not a good guy for me. I need a guy to plan things in advance with me and message me conversation about how he's feeling, thinking, living his life. A guy who is emotional, not someone who just says hi, a few words, and a few words. You're not this type of the guy I want. I also need a guy who can come to live in the UK, live near me, but not with me. A guy who doesn't need sex, marriage, or kids. You're not this type of guy. So not suitable for me. I can't possibly have a serious adult relationship with you without sex and be happy with the way things are. You know, and it's good, you know, you basically need to lay out what the issues are, the problems. Thanks for the thumbs up. And so they know. That gives them a chance to respond and put things right if they actually capable of doing that, you know, or and listen to you more, or they just walk away, you know. They might just try and get this like fighting spirit, like fighting for you, but at the end of the day, if they're not going to be the right person for you, it doesn't matter. You have to let them go. So I'll see what this person says. I'll see what they come back with. You know, you might need to just say to the person, look, this is not what I'm looking for. This is where I'm at, and give them a chance to put it right. Or go off and put themselves right and change themselves if they feel like. If they don't want to change, that's up to them. Sometimes you just have to let someone go. I mean, I bet that guy's never been told by a woman before that he's got lots of self-development work to do on himself. He probably doesn't even know what I'm talking about, you know. But yeah, I would have thought he does, because he is into business somewhat. Do you know what I mean? So you just have to communicate your standards and expectations from the beginning as much as possible with the mediums that will allow. And if a person's not meeting them already, that's not going to change unless they change something fundamental about their behavior or themselves. It's not going to change. So therefore, there's no point you being with the person. It's better just to cut your losses. You know, I've told him to go look for another woman. I told him that before anyway. But he wouldn't listen. So, you know, hopefully you'll listen to that and realise, you know, this is just not working out, you know. I don't know whether I'll defriend him or block him or keep him on my friends list for now. I don't know. I don't really know. He's not a really nasty person, I don't think. But at the end of the day, you know, he has got this very strong sense of entitlement. You know, like he was all about, oh, we get to know me for a month, get to know me for 2 months. It's like, no, that's not how I work. And that's not a good guy for me, you know? So, you know, just lay out your standards, lay out your expectations from the beginning, and don't back down, don't change them. If the person doesn't meet them or can't meet them because of where they're at in their life is just not suitable for you, then you have to let them go one way or the other and just move on, you know. I don't need the stress and hassle from a guy like this, to be quite frank with you. He clearly isn't right for me, you know. He clearly isn't right for me. He's just like not right for me, you know. I think it's a shame about the younger guy that will never be able to move to this country, because I really, 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 really like him a heck of a lot, you know. He's really nice to talk to as well, but you know, it is the way it is. He is, you know, still really young and got a lot to learn, I guess, about the world and life, but his heart is really good, so that's nice, you know. But he said we can be friends, but obviously I've got to be careful not to speak to him too much, because I get so romantic, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's just best to set all these things out, set the bar high from the beginning. If they don't meet it, be prepared to walk away. And you should do that anyway. If you ever get into a relationship with someone and they don't meet your standards and expectations, you should be prepared to walk away, because if you don't, the person will just carry walking all over you. I made that mistake in the past, you know. Now I tend to get rid of people or guys quicker that just can't meet my standards or expectations, because there's no point in carrying it on. This is very stressful. The life's stressful enough at the moment without adding insult to injury, and and having these type of people in our lives that are clearly no good for us. So be strong, be bold, be brave, have standards and expectations. Don't go into a potential relationship or start dating scene not knowing what the heck you want, because you'll have all your boundaries violated that you don't even know were there, because you don't know they were there. You'll be walked all over. You won't have any sense of what is good for you. And if you don't have any sense of what's good for you, then the person won't know what's good for you and how you want to be treated. So they'll just treat you like the hell they want to. And it may be good, or 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to be bad, because they think they can get away with stuff. And you need to hold boundaries and put them in place. Things that you do and don't like in the relationship, things that you do and don't like in a friendship. It's very, very important. So set the standards and expectations at the beginning. If they're not meeting it already, have serious words with them. Say, look, this isn't working for me. This isn't going to work. Go away and do some work on yourself. This is the reason why it won't work. I mean, he could have messaged me back and said, like, oh, actually, my day's not been great because I slipped at work. This is the thing. I shouldn't have had to prompt him to do that again. He could tell me what he's been doing with his day, but he didn't. This is either a guy who's got stuff to hide, or he's just not very living in his feminine essence. He's just too masculine, too closed off, too in his box. Do you know what I mean? Not open and honest. In order to have a successful, happy, healthy relationship, you've got to have a guy who's really open. Eddie, communication is a must. Nice to see you, Eddie. Lots of love. It is. It absolutely is. And this guy is very shut off to expressing his feelings and emotions and talking about things. He thinks he's got male entitlement because he thinks a woman should just trust him. He thinks he's a perfect man, which is obviously a big fault already. In terms of aesthetic looks, he's really not my type of look for an Indian guy. He thinks his body's great, but I really don't. I don't want to be with a guy who's got hair all over his face. It's just not appealing to me. Do you know what I mean? He's too masculine for me. I do like some guys, I've said it before, with some feminine traits, and every guy that's a good guy, really, that's going to grow and develop himself, will have some feminine traits. What I mean by that is he will be able to be open. He'll be open to receiving your influence as well, to a certain extent. He'll be open about his feelings and his emotions, what he's thinking. He'll be able to express himself. He'll be able to not think he's perfect and understand that he's got to develop, that he needs to change sometimes. He'll be empathetic. He'll be sympathetic. He'll be caring. He'll be kind. I mean, obviously, he must have some kind of like empathy, like, because I said, I've got to support myself financially, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'll give you money next weekend. And it's like, I don't even know you, mate, and I'm not that type of girl that just goes around meeting guys on the internet to take their money. Do you know what I mean? And I would not give my bank account details. If a guy ever wanted to put money in my account, he could pay my PayPal. I'm not stupid. I'm like, if you want to, mate, put money in my account, there's my PayPal. You ain't having my bank details. Not that I need a guy's money, but that's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? If he's really going to insist, fine. Don't expect any favours for it either in return. Sam, we should always be looking to grow and develop. No one's perfect, and there is always room for improvement. Exactly, Sam. A guy who thinks he's perfect, seriously, I would say he's a very insecure guy. Because a guy who makes out he's perfect has obviously got a lot of things he hasn't worked on in his life. He's got a lot of insecurities. It's almost like saying, look, I'm better than anyone you could ever come across ever in your life. And just because you've come across me, well, he came across me on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? It's just very, very, I find it very childish and play schoolish, Like the guy who's like 21 years old, he's got a kind heart. He's really easy to talk to. He'll listen to my ideas about my life. He'll be really kind and caring. He's very aesthetic, beautiful. It's a shame that he'll never come over in this country, but at least he's honest with me, but he's beautiful. Believing yourself to be perfect is often the sign of a delusional mind. You're absolutely right, Sam. In 2 words, delusional mind. I completely agree with you, It's very delusional, and actually I don't think he's very good looking at all. I mean, he really was talking about being a perfect man with the fact of his got chest hair and he's got a beautiful physique. I mean, he's like, I'm athletic. I'm like thinking, no, you're really not, mate. You haven't got an athletic, because I said I don't like muscly types, I like athletic types. He goes, I'm athletic, and he's got this picture of his chest with like loads of hair down it, and it's not athletic. It's just a body. I wouldn't even say it's muscly or athletic. I would just say it's a just normal body. Do you know what I mean? I would say it's neither. It's just average. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and hair, loads of hair. I don't like loads of hair. I don't like gorillas. I mean, I don't mind gorillas looking at them, but I don't want to actually take one home with me, if you know what I mean. And yeah, it's just like, and actually hair on a guy is just totally off-putting for me. Do you know what I mean? Especially when he's got this one picture, he's got really long beard. I'm like, you're not a wizard. Do you know what I mean? I know some people like beards, and there's a lot of women that love them, but I can't stand them. I just really, really, really can't stand them. It just really puts me off. I like baby face guys. I like the boy next door type. You know, the guy who's so cute and cuddly, the guy who's not Mr. Perfect, the guy who doesn't have shed loads of money necessarily, the guy who will do anything for his woman, the guy who can say no to other women, the guy who like is probably the guy that would probably get taken the mickey out of when he was at school for being more feminine, probably, and the guy who would, you know, get the mickey taken out because he's not one of the lads, you know. That type of guy would probably be the guy I would go for a lot more, you know, like boy next door, cute, sweet, innocent, beautiful, stand by my side, be my bestest friend, that type of cute young guy, you know. That's the type of guy I want, not this guy who's, I'm the perfect guy, look at my body, which is quite repulsive with all the hair. You know, like, you don't you trust me already? Oh, we can get to know each other for 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. I can come over there and see you. It's like, no, you really can't. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's a very, very male sense of entitlement. Sam, beards are as his hairy chest. I totally should have said as are. See, not perfect. Yeah, I use is instead of are in one of my downloads. But I saw as his hairy chest. But you know what I mean? Some people use is instead of are, don't they? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect either. You know, I've got to stop being perfect. I had to cut that down actually, because it was like meaning I'm still somewhat of a perfectionist, I have to admit, but I've had to cut that back, you know, because you know, you get so worried in business about being perfect, you don't learn anything or move business along fast enough because you're too worried about everything being absolutely spot on. You just don't get anywhere, and it's actually perfection is a killer, because you can't really perfect something anyway until it's out there in the market to see what people like about it and don't like about it and how effective it is or not effective. So in business, you kind of got to learn to actually what they call fail forward. But I mean, I don't believe there's any failures. I just believe there's lessons you can learn from. So in other words, if something goes wrong and it doesn't go right, it doesn't sell or doesn't work out, you've learned a lesson from that, you know, and you can move on. Sometimes you have to do a lot of things, and then in order to find out what does work. So, you know, like for me, I do this chat show because I absolutely love it. I think it's really different to other asexual channels. Obviously, I have the gift of talking, and so I can use it for good effect. And it's one. I was saying this to Eddie in a message, that it's one thing to talk about asexuality, to give textbook definitions, to say generic stuff about it, but it's very different to actually show how asexuality affects your everyday life. You know, like I do this channel to show people how asexuality really does affect relationships, friendships. It can be for the best. When I got my best asexual friend like Sam in the chat, and obviously Eddie's found us. Eddie's not asexual, but got an asexual girlfriend, so it can, you know. And Eddie, thank you so much for saying that you've learned a lot on this channel, found it helpful. I really appreciate that. So, you know, these are all good qualities, but it can also be very difficult when you're trying to date, find a, you know, if you're romantic, when you're trying to find a romantic partner. And that's, you know, there are a lot of asexuals out there that are romantic, you know, they lack romantic attraction. I find quite a lot of the people that are doing YouTube shows, quite a lot of them are aromantics, whereas I am romantic, you know, so I am on the dating relationship scene a lot more. And I think it's a lot better to have someone saying how their life is on a daily basis, so you can really understand that asexuality is true. It really exists for a start. You know, there's so many people on the internet that are like, oh, that's not a real thing. It doesn't exist. And it's like, how long have I been doing this channel now for? Since 2015. How long have I been live streaming nearly every day? Since 2018 now, July 2018. That's a long time, you know? So it's very much real. It's very much true. I live with my sexual orientation day in, day out, and the complications that can arise from that. I love being asexual, don't get me wrong, I adore it, but it does make life more complicated in certain situations. Like, I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news, because it's just full of sex, and as well as murder, rape, violence, and all the rest of it I don't want to know about. But, you know, that's very sexualized. I try to get no sex movies, you know. And it does affect potential relationships. You know, this guy is not asexual. He's just met me on Facebook. I don't really usually pursue any type of relationships with people I've just met on Facebook. I wonder how many people I've actually met their love of their life in a serious committed relationship through Facebook. I'd like to know, because I haven't actually ever heard someone say, I met my partner on Facebook and we've been together like 20 years or something. Do you know what I mean? I've never actually heard anyone say that. It'd be very interesting statistically to know how many people did that, because I've never heard of it. I've heard of people meet people on dating sites or in a bar, that type of thing, or dating apps. I've never actually heard someone say, I've met my partner on Facebook, we've never stopped talking since, or something. Mind you, I think Ralph might have met his partner on Facebook, actually, come to think of it, because he said they met in a group, a Facebook group, I think it was. So actually, I think Ralph did meet his partner in a Facebook group. So I do know someone. I take that all back now. I've just remembered. Because I was just thinking when I was talking and asking at the asexual meetup how he met his fiance, he said it was in a group. And that was a Facebook group, as far as I know, I think. So yeah, maybe Ralph has. I'll have to double check that when I speak to him next. But I think Ralph did. I think it was a Facebook group. But so yeah, so that's good. I do know one person, woohoo! And it happens to be an asexual person. 2 asexual people. So it's possible. And obviously, actually in my asexual dating, no sex dating group, there's 2 people who met in there. Some time ago, they got together in a relationship. So I guess, yeah, Facebook can work, but I don't know what it'd be like for an asexual to find a relationship with a sexual. Sam, I was briefly in a relationship with someone from Facebook last year. Yes, you were, Sam. I didn't really want to say in case, unless you wanted to say I forgot, until you just kind of like, I think I might have thought fleeting moment just before you said it, but then I'm like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, so Facebook does work actually, but I'm not sure if it would work for an asexual with sexual person. I mean, I suppose it could do, because you know what I mean. It's like, when someone's not asexual, it's very, very dangerous to like go and meet someone off the internet. Do you know what I mean? Who's not asexual. You know, you have to know them a long period of time and trust them, you know. But you know, I would, you know, like I've got a friend actually in India that I think I've known him about 3 or 4 years now, and I knew through Facebook. And you know, if he, you know, wanted to meet me, I've seen him on camera. He spoke to my parents on camera. I've met his friends on camera. So if he came over to the UK, I would probably meet up with him, because I've known him for a very, very long time and I know what he's like. So I think it can work. So yeah, I take that back, what I say. But I still like to know statistically how many people actually met their partner on Facebook. Sam, just didn't work out, as we have different outlooks on life. I hope to meet someone one day for a long-term relationship. Yeah. And obviously I do have my friends groups. I mean, I met you in a Facebook group, although we're not romantically interested in each other. We're friends, best friends. So yes, maybe in terms of relationship, like as in romance, no, but friendship, yeah, it's awesome. Wow, if it wasn't for my asexualized no sex dating group, I wouldn't have met you. I don't think, unless you're in some other group and I happen to see you in another group. But yeah, and I actually met my other best friend Andy on an asexual dating site. So because someone on asexuality.com, so someone posted in the forum the other day about the fact, you know, like, has anyone actually met anyone on this site on asexuality.com? And I said, yeah, actually I met someone who became one of my best friends, and if it wasn't for this site I would never have met him. So just because it didn't work out romantic, I haven't met my romantic relationship match though, but just because I haven't done that, I have actually made a really good friend through that site, and me and Sam are both really good friends with them, you know. And if I hadn't met him through asexuality.com, then Sam would have met him through me. So, you know what I mean? It's online stuff is really good, and you are more likely to meet your partner online. Sam, yeah, I've made several friends through Facebook, of which I've met several, and of course my bestest friend ever being you. Oh, thank you. Love you lots as my friend, you know that. And only met my other best friend because I met you. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's so nice. I feel all warm and snuggly when you say things like that. It just makes my day. It really does. It's really, really nice. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you being in my life every single day. Like when I message Sam, it's just so natural. It's like really different to anything before, you know? Like I always make time for Sam because when we message, it's just, I don't know, it just works really well. Like we get on with our own projects and have our completely own life, but like we keep in regular contact with each other just really naturally. It's so nice. We look out for each other as well. Like I haven't been feeling well. Like I am literally now, you wouldn't know, but I literally feel like I'm rocking on this ship. I feel like I'm bobbing up and down. It's horrible. I've had this yesterday and I've got it now. I feel like I'm going woo like this. It's just like I can even feel it. It's horrible. But I'm just getting on the stream because I'm here for you guys, you know? But it's a very weird sensation. I've had this before and it was low blood pressure I had before, and I can get ear problems as well and stuff like that. So, or viral infections, that type of thing. So it can be any one of those. Probably most likely subconscious stress and low blood pressure, probably, I'm guessing. Because, you know, like we can think everything is all right, and then all of a sudden this subconscious stuff can seep in on it. But I don't think it's helped lately with having this like romantic stuff going on, because I have been a bit like addicted again to romantic situations. So I'm trying to stay off mingle2.com now. Like I was on there on Thursday, and I'm trying now to have a sabbatical, time out of there, because I don't think it's very good for me. I think it gets a bit toxic, unhealthy. That site's not very good anyway because it's predominantly aimed for sexuals. I'm not sure whether to delete it permanently, but you know, it's kind of interesting to speak to people on there, and there's like over 3 million, I think it is, on there, people, and you know, the chances of finding asexual might be slim in some ways, but you know, there's millions of people on that site, so there should be some asexual somewhere. And I kind of like, you know, like it's kind of nice to talk to different foreign guys sometimes, but you know, it just ends up with none of them being right for me because they're all highly sexual on that site. So I haven't deleted it for now, but I need to detox from it for a bit, you know, and put myself first and get back into my career side of things more and try to keep off it, you know, because it's not good. You know, I've gone through, you know, like there was 3 guys in one night, none of them, well, I came up matches, but none of them were right for me. Then I've had like this couple of guys on Facebook recently, and the 21-year-old, to be honest, my heart really pulled for him. So you know what I'm like with my hyper romanticism. Oh my lord, I'm all right for a while, and then it's like boom, boom. You know, it's like and you know, and then I had obviously a lovely asexual guy interested in a relationship with me who lives in a complete different country out of the blue. Talking about that yesterday as well. So it's kind of like a lot of emotional romantic stuff going on. I think maybe that's had a toll on my health as well, you know, when you are hyper romantic and when you are asexual and you do find it difficult, it can affect you emotionally, which affects your body obviously, because if you long for a relationship and you keep thinking maybe this is going to be the right person for me, and then you find out it's not, it is emotionally draining on the body, you know. And this is what a lot of people don't really talk about, you know, and this is why I like to share my own life journey on this channel, because it's like this is how it's really difficult in reality being asexual, you know, because it's not like you can just go around getting someone easily if you don't like sex, you know. If I liked sex, I could easily get a boyfriend, you know, easily. It wouldn't be hard for me at all. I could take my pick, but I really don't want that again. I'm not interested. I like the sweet innocent teenager love, the beautiful, precious, pure love. You know, I like the holding hands, the talking till the early hours of the morning, the kissing, the cuddling, sitting on each other's laps, in between each other's legs, holding each other tight, you know, watching movies together, taking moonlit strolls together, talking till the early hours of the morning, sitting opposite each other on the bed, you know, looking into each other's eyes, holding each other's hands, you know, stroking each other's hair, touching each other's little noses like that, holding hands. Holding hands is so electrifying. All the beautiful type of touching things I like, not the not the like all over the breasts and genitalia stuff, you know. It's like that's too adult for me. Sometimes it's like, really, I'm not, you know, like I don't like it when stuff gets too adult in that way, you know. I'd rather have the teenager side of the love and beauty of the relationship, you know. And I just hope that I find a guy who's equally into that type of relationship and who can actually be with me, because, you know, you've got to have another person that wants the same type of relationship with you. It's never going to work. It's just going to be like chalk and cheese. It's just going to be like no one's really going to get their needs met. It's just going to be really, really bad, you know. That's why I know this guy on Facebook, the older one, isn't suitable for me. He's too masculine. He's too hairy. He's too thinking he's Mr. Perfect and not able to express and open up, you know. That is not the type of person you want in a relationship, you know. I wouldn't know the difference years ago. It's only in the last like couple of years I've started understanding really what a good relationship looks like, what a good guy looks like, what a guy who's going to be best type of guy for me to be in a relationship is, you know. And a lot of guys, I'm coming across, you know, sexual guys are very insecure about themselves actually, and they like validation from lots of women. They like to be told they're beautiful and hot and sexy or whatever. They like you know, like attention. And the trouble with that is, if a guy's not secure enough in himself, he's gonna be literally after every woman out there, or any woman that bats an eyelid from him. He's gonna be messaging and texting and liking the attention. You need a guy who's actually can actually say no to other women, who potentially has got some way about him that, you know, is attractive to other women, that he knows that he can get another woman. And it's like, no, I really don't want one. I choose to be with you, you know. And if a woman comes near him, it's like, you know, I'm with someone, bye. Do you know what I mean? Like my best female friend, she's got a really good guy for her at last, because he is not interested at all in her female friends in any way, shape, or flirtatious form. You know, one of her other best friends said, you know, she at the time before they lived together, she said goodbye to her guy, and her other best friend, who's a sexual cougar, said, oh, you know, he's saying, oh, bye, my love, or something to her. And she goes, oh, thanks very much, you know, her other best friend. And he's like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my girl. You know, this is a really strong guy in that way. It's a guy that's not going to cheat on her. He's not going to mess around. I know that about him. All the other guys she's been with, I haven't known that about them, but I know the guy she's with now, whatever, you know, he's like, I don't know him that well, but I know he would never cheat on her. I totally believe that. I don't believe he's a cheating type. I believe that if she wasn't the right girl for him, he would just say so and that would be it. He would move on. I don't believe he's a cheating type. From what she said, and from the way I know when I've met him with her, he is very much for her. He is not going around gawking at other women. He's not even interested really in talking that much to other women. He's just really, I mean, he has got a female best friend, she told me. But, you know, I can tell he's a good guy for her in that way. You know, he's very strong in himself in that way, you know. And that's what you need. You need someone in the relationship with you who's going to have a very strong sense of self-worth and self-love and self-appreciation, and know that, you know, yes, I could get another girl, but I want you, you know. Because if you haven't got that type of person, if you've got a guy who's just going around on all these social media trying to get likes and women to say how good looking he is and how hot he is and wonderful, that guy is not going to last. He's not going to be faithful to you. Or maybe even if he was faithful to you, you wouldn't know he was. You'd be questioning him all the time, because he'd be like making you insecure, because he would be insecure, because he'd need that validation from other women. Do you know what I mean? And it'd just be a nightmare. You know, it'd be like I don't know, it'd be like trying to facilitate a baby in an adult world. It just wouldn't work very well. You know, I don't want to be a mother to a guy. I like younger guys, but I really don't want to be a mother to a young guy. I need a guy who's younger but really mature for his age, and really got a good sense of the world and what he wants out of life, and he's willing to put in the time, energy, and effort into his self development, into his own career, and into a potential relationship. Who really realizes, God, a relationship takes lots of work, and I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna like strive to do my best for this relationship and this girl. Do you know what I mean? Not someone who's like, I'm perfect to start off with. You know, it's just not good, this type of guy. You know, I mean, I think I've told you before, I've got an entrepreneur friend online. He's 20 and his partner's 40, you know? So there's 20 years difference, but he wants to marry the girl. He lives with her, you know? And they run a business together. And, you know, and he's made hundreds of thousands of pounds online, even though he's only 20 years old, right? You know, so it can happen. You know, there are guys out there. He used to live in the UK as well, and he lives in a European country now with his partner, you know, and they're awesome together. They're an awesome team, you know. So I can get someone who's younger and still be in a loving, committed, healthy, happy relationship like those two are. I can tell by the way he talks about his woman that he's really into her. He told me in a private message, he goes, it's, you know, it's a challenge sometimes because of the age difference, but I love her, you know. And he's already said publicly that, you know, he wants her to be his wife. You know, that guys, if you're going to get into a relationship, take it seriously. Make this person your wife. Don't bother, don't get into a relationship, you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't even know how long they've been together, but, you know, he's 20. He's like younger than I would usually go for, because I'm usually 21 and upwards, you know. I don't even know how old he was when they met, but I think he was earning hundreds of thousands of pounds online from 18, I think, you know. I've only known him over the last few months, so, you know, it can be achieved. Just because someone is younger in birth certificate age doesn't mean to say he can't be maturer than a guy older than him. You know, I've met some other guys that are very mature for that age and that in a very young way, and they're more likely to be able to have your influence as well to a certain extent. You know, they're more likely to be able to look up to you than a guy who's already got some preconceived ideas about how awesome he is and why a woman should really just trust him like that and think he's great. Do you know what I mean? And so you really don't want this type of guy. So it's really best, whatever gender you're going for, to literally say your standards and expectations. Now that can be difficult. Like, say you've just come across someone on the internet and you're busy working, or you're just in between like work, or you're having your lunch and then you got to get back to work, or you've got a meeting to go to. You know, you can only message for a little bit, right? So sometimes things can be misconstrued, and sometimes things, you know, like aren't really going to be able to lay out all the standards and expectations. Having said this, if you notice just for a few messages that a person clearly isn't going to be the right person for you, or certainly not as they are at the moment, then you should tell them that. Otherwise, it means you've got to Skype them, or at least phone them and tell them, look, this is my standard expectations as you are at the moment, as I've seen you. This is not the type of person that would be suitable for me. Thanks for your interest, but until, you know, you either basically, unless I get this type of guy that I want, or person that I want, I'm not going to settle, you know, because you've not got to tell them they got to change. You'll be very careful not to tell them they got to change. You've just got to lay out what you want a person to be in the relationship, not make them that person. Do you see what I mean? You can't put your fantasy onto them. You can't put your expectations onto them and expect them to actually do it or be it. You have to learn the truth about where they are it, and if they're not it, then you have to give them ample time to be able to listen to you, put it right if they want to, or to just part ways. You know, you can just say, you know, you're not suitable for me either at the moment or in the future, you know, or you're not suitable, period. Do you know what I mean? So it's up to you to set the bar and your standards and expectations high from the beginning, and don't let someone walk all over you. This person you don't even know. It's much better to say this type of thing at the beginning of a potential relationship than it is to go on for months and not having told them, realizing there's red flags. It's like, I realized there was stuff. Oh, hi, Don. Nice to see you. You know, I realized there was stuff that this person wasn't right for me over. So I thought it's much better just to tell them, you know. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video tonight. I hope you found it useful, helpful, insightful. If you have in any way, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate you being here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and bell notification if you haven't already. I want to thank Eddie very much for being in the chat tonight. And of course, my best friend Sam. Hi, Don. If you haven't obviously seen the rest of this video, please watch it again from the beginning after I come off this live. It will be up in my video selection for you to view again. And it's got some good information, I think. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for being here tonight. Brace your quaggy and each other's. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.